Hello, and welcome to Channel Sport on Sunday. I'm Ken Ochonago. I think it is the worst of times, but it is also the best of times. The coronavirus pandemic is spreading like wildfire. But then there is good news, because in the last 4 days, there has not been, according to reports coming from China, there has not been new infections in the Hubei province. That's actually Wuhan where this thing break out, which means there is a cure. It can be cured. It is not a death sentence. But for the elderly, for the sick, and for the weak, especially mostly the young ones also, some of the young ones, I mean, it is not the best of times. But it can be managed. It can be curtailed. It can be overcome. All we have to do is listen. I mean, the best thing we can do now is to listen to what the medical authorities are telling us, to listen, to follow what they say, follow whatever instructions, whatever advice that the security for national security force are telling us. Stay away. Self-isolation. Don't go self-medication. I don't know about that. But the truth is, even as we in the world of sports are saying things are bad, it is not yet doomsday. The world has almost come to a lockdown, not just sports, like we say, because, in the next few hours, maybe you can travel in or out of Lagos. International airports have been closed. Some even land borders. We started from Wuhan. We talked about Italy, Iran, South Korea, and all these places. But then we talk sports and we look at this virus from that angle of sports. Charity, they say, begins at home. The president, haven't been advised on how this thing was panning out, did take that, that particular, decision to say the 20th edition of the National Sport Festival be postponed indefinitely until such a time that, it can be safe enough for us to come together, and how do we do it? And then, because there is no way you are going to have a sporting event without people coming together. There is no way you're going to have the distance. There's no way you don't want to hug. There is no way you don't want to shake. There is no way these things won't be done. So, in order for us to be safe, the president, in his wisdom, based on advice from the Minister of Health and the Minister of Sport, said, okay, let's put it on hold. We can do that later. Football is our passion in this part of the world. And the MPFL, of course, that is, the highest in the strata of league matches in Nigeria. The MPFL came in to the LMC and said, we are also suspending the league until further notice. It is all suspension, and postponement in the world of sport. So we'll look at all that. I mean, I won't read them out here. But then the big one is the Olympics. I mean, the greatest sport fiesta in the world. And it takes place every 4 years, starting from 1896 in Athens when it started. So here we are, Tokyo 2020, after much preparations, after much expectations, after everything, here we are. We might face a postponement. Well, while the JOC, the Japanese Olympic Committee, and they are saying, look, this thing can go on. There are some discordant tones coming from outside, outside Japan. Some federations and some world are saying, look, there must be life before there is sport. Why don't we also push it a year further? Just like what the Chan has said, in CAF says, Chan, postpone it. CONMEBOL said, Copa America, postpone it. UEFA says, Euro 2020, take it from June 12, 2020, they started it to June 11, 2021, a year. Take it a year. So why can't you do that for the Olympics? I know. I don't know. Do I actually know? You understand? Because you may know how somebody feels, but if you are not in the shoes of that particular person, how do you know? My guys are in the house. Catalan. Lorenzo Sanz.
Good afternoon, sir. You say you don't know how everybody feels. I know how Liverpool fans will feel right now.
Okay.
They would want this league to come to an end and to a conclusive end, because after 30 years, this is the opportunity for them to actually lift the title. And with the outbreak of the coronavirus and the COVID-19 epidemic, it's looking like we don't even know what the plans will be. But although we had news saying that whatever happens, this league will actually come to a conclusion. We'll see winners, we'll see teams being relegated, and we'll see teams being promoted. My only hope is that the sooner it actually comes to an end, the better, because right now it's basically disrupting the way we live our lives on a daily basis. We are seeing what's happening in Italy. For one, people that have families in Italy, by the time they call home and tell you what they are experiencing over there, it's just, we hope that it doesn't get to that level, to that degree here in Nigeria. We're hearing the government saying we should not gather more than 50 people at certain places and services not holding today and all of that. We can only hope and we pray that very soon this thing comes to an end and our lives can go back to the way it used to be.
Okay, very soon they say, social distancing, yeah. And, let us move on and see. Let me come to Okpe first. Okpe, there is this small story that's concerning John Obi Mikel and his club in Turkey.
Yes, I think it just takes us back to the story, the biblical story, parable of the Sabbath and man, which one was made for which, and that was exactly what Mikel was driving at. As if Mikel had that premonition, just yesterday, the sporting fraternity lost the first, we had suffered the first casualty in Lorenzo Sanz, the former president of Real Madrid. He was president from 1995 to 2000, and he was the person that sacked George Valdano, the Argentine World Cup winner. And of course, his period brought them those two Champions League titles, which became a forever 9th title before they got the 10th under Carlo Ancelotti. So coronavirus is not something, the pandemic is not something you only hear about. Yes, Psalm 191 says 1,000 falls by your right side, tens of thousands by your left, but it's things we can actually relate with, and that's why so painful that Lorenzo Sanz, the former president of Real Madrid, had to give way to that deadly disease. So that was what Mikel was actually telling the Turkish authority, that look, you don't need a fear from government. This thing is pure common sense. Why should football? Yes, football is our life, but it's not what their lives. That was just the message, and they took it that it was being disrespectful to the constituted authority in Turkey, and of course they had to add a mutual invisible handshake, because Mikel will not get involved. So they had to be parting of ways, and of course that contract had to be mutually terminated. And Mikel is back in London to the comfort of his family.
Let me just, I want to take it from where he stopped. I mean, Mikel said, suspend this league. I mean, it is not worth playing. Our lives are dear to us. And then the club said, delete that particular tweet, put it down. And Mikel says, no, this is my belief. I'm not going to do that. I mean, do you see, after this pandemic, do you see maybe FIFPro or maybe FIFA's wading into this issue? Because what he called for, the league in Turkey has now been suspended.
Let's start, before the tweet, I think in a football match, Mikel, the coach asked Mikel to come on as a substitute. Mikel said he wasn't going to come on because of the pandemic, actually. And if you look at it critically, you need to be alive to play football.
Yeah.
And Mikel, within his rights, he has a duty of care to his family and to his immediate environment. And if he feels it's not safe enough for him to go in and play football, he has the right to say he won't play. And I think the FIFPro and all the relevant establishments in charge of players' welfare ought to look into it, because what he was agitating for, what he was crying out for, the club has actually done it right now. So how did
the league, yes.
Yes, even the entire league now had been suspended. What did he do wrong? I think the club was being unreasonable by cancelling his contract. And Mikel, not being the troublesome person he's been as a player and as a man, agreed to mutually terminate the club, because if he contests it, I think there are enough grounds to defeat the club.
Okay. Like we said, it was a bit also painful for him and for the world of sport, because it was almost at the brink of winning the league. They are you know on top of the league, and they are moving on there. That would have added to his that is a trophy cabinet where you have almost every trophy.
If it's like England, that if it's played over 18, I don't know if they have such rules over there. If it's played over a certain number of games,
you'll be entitled to the
medal. So
entitled to the medal.
Let's hope they have such a rule.
But if it's no longer a member of the club, I mean, probably that is what they are.
No, you have a situation where some people leave the club. Once you meet that criteria, but it's against at the discretion of because you have maybe a live squad.
And you have put one person name.
Yes, you have the restriction of how many medals that can be given out. You can now get to see it who has medal criteria or who do you think merited more than the other.
So like that is so that will still come up. Okay, so that we'll still come to all that because today we are looking at is. I mean, you are not going to get any live. You are not getting any live score. You are not going to get, who is playing who. You are not going to get fixtures. You see it. So, but we will still come to you. We'll still come to you because, like you said, we're all saying here, life matters. We know without life there won't be sport. Without life there won't be anything. So the basic thing, the number one thing here is how to preserve life. So let's start with the Channels Kids Cup. Like we said, of course. All things being equal, we're saying the forms will close on the 13th of April. I don't think that will be possible, because you have to go to school. You have to go to school before you go and upload all those things. But some of the schools are being asked to shut down, especially in Lagos State. Stay at home, keep the kids at home, keep the teachers at home, so that this social distancing, can be maintained. When you're not close, you can't keep two kids sitting down on the same seat, in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. I think not just Lagos State. Many states have shut down schools. Ekiti, Oyo, Enugu State,
all the northwestern states.
Abia State. Many states.
And then the federal government has shut down all the middle schools, all polytechnics, all tertiary institutions have all been closed down.
So I think it's also good to let people know that when we are saying schools are shutting down, so I don't understand why all student associations are still having events. They are offshoot of those schools.
Just like the one.
They are offshoot of those schools.
Put on social media. The spokesman of our president said something, and a few minutes after tweeted something, and Nigerians went after him. I think people should be mindful about these things. If the agencies have said we shouldn't gather, let's listen to them because if there's an outbreak of this virus in Nigeria, there'll be crisis because I'm not sure we have enough facilities to manage a crisis.
I think like you are saying, the bond here is that there are certain things you do and then you suffer the repercussions alone. But where the result of your action affects other persons, that is where it becomes an issue. But even sometimes some of the actions that affect you, you can't just go to the 10 million and jump. It is a crime. It is your life, but you don't have the right to take it. Yes. Talk less of endangering other person's lives. So there are things that in a society. You just have to live by the rules of the society, and that is what the government agencies, that is what the government are saying at all the levels. In fact, look, this is what it is our primary responsibility to preserve life before even property. So that preservation is what they are saying. You must follow this so that we can achieve that which we set out to do. So it doesn't really matter whether you are in the school, or whether you are a teacher, whether you are an ex-student of the school, or whatever it is. Practice social distancing. Stay away from others. Isolate as much as possible, and that is the thing. And I tell you, because if China can conquer this the way we are reading it, I know that if we follow the Chinese template, because they've opened some of those places that they closed, they've now opened it. People are now coming out, and meeting each other. So definitely there is something that we can look at through that, and then know how that goes on. But let's come back, like we said. Let's go back. Let's go to the presidency. There is this tweet from the president saying that the National Sports Festival, was postponed.
From the president, I think President Muhammad Buhari has approved the postponement of the 2020 National Sports Festival as a precautionary move against COVID-19. The president was this morning briefed by the Minister of Youth and Sports Development and the Minister of State for Health. I think it's a very sensible decision from the president. I think because this is real, it's in Nigeria, and it's spreading. Any measure that ought to be taken to curtail the spread of this virus should be on board, and the president is right 100% this time.
And I think it's just natural that you can't practice social distances
during the sports festival, it's not even possible.
It's like oil and water, they don't mix.
Yeah.
You need to congratulate the winners, console the losers, and most of these come through organ and shake.
And before this,
But even if it, apart from, I just want to add to what he said, so that you take it up from there. Because you are even just talking about a handshake. How do you practice judo? How do you do boxing? How do you understand? How do you do wrestling?
And that's what I was going to come to. At the last National Sports Festival, that was 8 years ago, in 2012. I actively walked to that festival, and I understand that it's not possible. Everybody's coming together. The fact that people come together to mingle. I had not seen something like that before. That was my first time experiencing such.
Yeah.
It was actually thrilling for me. So I don't really see how it will be possible for people to come together and not the contact will always be there. And then even though Edo State had come out to say that they actually had it under control, but before that time, the cases that we have actually seen in Nigeria was not as much as it is right now. I think it's really sensible for the government to say it can't go on. Nice one from the presidency.
No, when you say Edo State they have it under control, I mean,
So they're great that they were prepared to manage it.
How prepared was US? How prepared was Canada?
Exactly.
How prepared was Spain? How prepared was Italy? How prepared was UK? Are you saying these countries were not prepared? That is what we are talking. That is what we are. There are things that are beyond preparation.
Yes.
You
It's not
understand?
the rate at which it's even spreading and the way it's going around.
It is highly
You don't know that.
contagious.
Exactly.
So,
I told somebody, people with greater medical know-how, the thing is overwhelming them.
Overwhelming.
It's us. They're very like preparation there. Let's cancel. Let everybody stay in their house.
Exactly. That is all
Simple.
that prevention is better than cure. There's no to say we have put this, we have put this. And then the most dangerous aspect of this is that when you're asymptomatic, what did they say? The symptoms will not show, and then you can still transmit it.
So
you don't have somebody it is only when it's full blown. That's okay, fine. This guy has a test positive. That is when you can.
The incubation period is 2 weeks.
And during that period, you can transmit it. That is just the issue.
Massively.
Man, that is so.
And I think something again in sporting activities that has come to stay. You know how many tons of condoms that are distributed to sporting activities.
Yes.
And that tells you something again about social
That's
distancing, not being practical when you have this kind of
we have not seen it from that particular angle. No, I agree. That is into consideration. Of course.
Come up with it.
You remember, sometimes I've been there. Wasn't it the US 94, then Brazil, the last World Cup.
94.
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
There was some of there is that sometimes even in 2006 World Cup or so in Germany. What about WAGs? Where the coach will decide whether the wives and girlfriends will travel with the team or not. In some coaches might say it is not the problem. Others will say you stay away from your wives and girlfriend until after the end of the tournament. And that is what. So it depends on whatever it is. So this way you are saying, I'm just looking at another particular angle that some wives and girlfriends might also go there, during the festival, and that is from the angle I'm looking at it. So let's not go away from there. Okay, like we said, CAF said a CHAN, the federations, the African Football Championship supposed to take place in Cameroon. They are saying, look, we are pushing it. We're postponing that, and then also AFCON qualifiers. So this, March, April was supposed to go on. Have been postponed indefinitely.
Looking at the spread of the virus, they felt as of June the virus will not be contained enough, and that's the only window they have to play that competition without any hitch. So that's why they moved it for 1 year, so that they will have an open space after the league to be able to play that competition, because they don't want it clashing with any other.
No, it just brings us to what we have been saying here. Is here we place the national team above the league. In sensible climb, the league is superior to national competition.
National team is part-time.
The league is like the conveyor
wire.
belt. Without the league, you don't even you can't have the national team.
Exactly.
So is here you suspend the league for the World Cup when even the host of the World Cup, their league is going on.
But most of the value of the league
is what
is what you understand.
Exactly.
Do you know how? I mean, what probably what the team that will come 20th in the Premier League might receive more than the person who is going to win the Euro. So, and then you're talking about everyday thing. And how many teams, a nation brings in about 23 players.
Yes.
In the league, a club has over, plus the youth teams,
50,
over
60 players.
They cater for on a daily basis and their income or whatever it is. So it is sustainability, and not just the players, those who are working in the industry,
Backroom staff and all those
the coaches,
the
the whatever,
kitmen,
media,
everybody, yes.
people. So I mean, the ripple effect is not what you can just sit down somewhere and say, you know, we're not discountenance this. So that's basically those things that are going on. CONMEBOL also, the organizer of Saturday, Copa America, they've said we are moving it from 2020 also to 2021.
Unfortunately, too, they also came with joint hosting between
Yes.
Colombia
Yes.
and
And
Argentina.
Argentina
You know,
this year.
the Corona thing just every novel
Yeah,
idea of
just-
man
just-
just
just move,
turn it
Go on,
upside
go on.
down.
You are talking about FIFPro, Ken.
Yes.
I thought I'd bring this to our attention. There's something FC Sion or Sion did.
Yes, they start.
Sacking players because they refused a pay cut. Is it right?
I think that those are the issues that nine of the players,
Yes,
were
including
asked.
Song.
Yeah, Alex Song and Juru,
And
former
Juru,
Arsenal
Arsenal
players. I
players.
don't know, maybe they recruited they from the Arsenal lineup. But what I'm trying to look at is
No, but
but
Is it enough to sack them?
of course there are terms of contract. That is where
the contract
that is where
comes into
FIFPro, that is where FIFPro
FIFPro
comes
comes,
in, because a contract is supposed to be sacrosanct. But then there is also a force majeure, things that affects you which are not there, and they say, look, based on this we can't pay,
Exactly.
because we have to end before we pay.
exactly.
Even Juventus has gone to some form of tribunal to give them the right to reduce salaries by 30%.
Man U is saying
Even
something.
Barcelona, the same thing to
Man U is
Barca,
saying
yes.
something that, look, we'll pay our backroom staff.
Yes.
Now, except you are in that situation of Colombia between the 80s and 90s, where Colombia football was being run with drug funds. So, they were not caring about ticket sales. So they were buying the best of players from Latin America and keeping their best players in now. So except you have that kind of situation where money laundering is the key, not the fair play rule. Because fair play is you spend what you earn.
spend as you
So
earn, yes.
if you've locked down the league, how do you spend what do you
You're not even earning.
So you are not
earning. So how do you pay? It just needs to be looked at.
needs to be
Sit on the table and be sensible, come together.
You're supposed to-
and agree.
That's why the government are issuing a bill. UK has some form of-
Nigeria, don't go to UK. I mean, that the president has just reduced the price of fuel. Here in
if we
this
look at it
country,
critically,
and
it's not bailout because you look at the prices of oil in the international market, it's falling. So this one is not in the category of bailout.
no, I think, okay, all right. Well, I'm not an economist. We are going to take on we are going on a short break, and when we come back, Channel Sport on Sunday continues while we open the line and you join the conversation. Okay, you're welcome back. It's the Channel Sport on Sunday. And like we said, we're going to open the lines so that you join us. The big thing is, should they postpone the Olympics? I mean, we all agreed that the National Sports Festival, there is a sound ground for that to be put forward. But then the Japanese Olympic Committee, I quite understand them. You put a lot of efforts, and when you are almost there, somebody's telling you cannot even because like we are saying, it is nobody saying don't do that. From what we are saying, we remember after China, Japan was where we first saw the high-profile case of that cruise ship, the Grand Princess, that got over there, and we know how many were infected. So basically, Japan was almost the next door neighbor, and then followed by South Korea before talking about Iran. And then when it got to Italy, it went beyond what the medical people could do, and then it's still all there. Gentlemen, before we start looking at what others are saying, what do you think the Olympics also should consider moving, shifting? July 24th is just by the corner. Okay, we are. Let's go to Niger. Dakbo is on the line. Hello, Dakbo. Hello, Dakbo.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Kill the volume of your telly. Kill it.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing? How's everything?
We're fine.
Well done. Sorry, if you are talking about the packaging, what's our... Okay. Okay. Sorry, what's the package as of our NFPA now, our league, Nigerian league? And what is our NFP doing for their players this period? I think what is their own package for them? And
All right.
not that there's no league.
Yeah.
I don't have any arrangement for them. Or maybe between now and maybe like a week or like a month before now. And then you know our players, our league now. Sorry to say, there's no future in our league. Because I'm not saying maybe they'll be paying them now the next 4 weeks. And then there's no players now. Before you know, there's no because they like to go back to their people who have them. And then what's the package for them? Are there any package for them now between now and the next 4 weeks? Or maybe. And again, what's the arrangement about this week? I think it's like last time now. Maybe they give the Ruby or last season. You never last season now. The league doesn't end well. Maybe the league like anything like
Okay,
like
that okay. Just calm down. Just calm down. Let me just take one or two of your questions. One, most of the clubs have gone on recess. They send their players on recess, and maybe talking from this particular angle. Some of them are on the payroll of the state government because the state own those clubs. I think they will still be paid, because it's like in the payroll when they pay civil servants, they also get paid. I don't think they will. So I believe they will collect their salary when the civil servants are being paid. But for now, some of those clubs, have gone on recess.
But this is a genuine concern for that one because I can understand even before the postponement of the league. Some clubs don't pay players. Is it now that coronavirus has forced them to postpone that they will pay?
Obum, we should also realize that we're not guided by the financial fair play rule here. So it was not a case of you spend what you earn here.
Yeah.
So here you are just
The budget,
you are at the mercy of the
budget.
appropriation bill. Whenever the State House of Assembly decides to pass those bills and the appropriate requisite authority also decide to release funds.
All right, let's go to Abuja.
Sadiq.
Sadiq, hello, Sadiq.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, how is the weekend?
Oh, we are here. We are here.
I can
Hi,
see the
hi,
way
Sam-
you
hi,
people are
Abuja.
elaborating the issue of sport.
Yeah. Hi, it's Abuja, actually. Hi, it's Abuja.
So we thank God. The weather is somehow harsh, but we still thank God.
Are you still going out in Abuja?
Sir?
Are you still strolling? Or you are indoors?
Obviously, I'm watching you on television, so I must be indoors.
Okay. All right, go on, Sadiq.
Actually, I called concerning the issue of virus that is disturbing the whole world and the rest.
Yeah.
And then our athletes our sports persons that I was so embarrassed when I saw many of our sports persons complaining of the adjustment or cancelled of schedules of our matches and other athletes. Actually, we quite know football is one of the things that brought joy to us. But surely our life matters more than the joy.
Exactly.
So, and I believe there are so professional persons handling such bodies, which their decision is far, far professional than ours. So, and this is a global crisis. At least a moral and grown-up brain should admit that we shouldn't all be like children saying that there is a crisis, no school, they should be happy. So this is my critique over this situation that we are facing, and may God help us too.
May God help us. We really appreciate your contribution because we are seeing in Europe where people are playing football from balcony. Somebody will sit down. So even a racket, they will be racket, play tennis from one window to another window.
Just before we came on, the Fabregas video he actually did a scene from Coming to America where Murphy was saying, "Good morning, my neighbors."
And then he yelled back. But basically, that brings us back to what the IOC postponing the Tokyo Olympics. Like Okpere rightfully said, if you are not alive, you cannot participate in sports. An athlete that is tested positive for this virus cannot participate. In fact, the men they know, they will isolate themselves from you. So I think it's only humane for us for the IOC to come together and say, let us postpone this thing. We've seen Europe postpone the Euros. We've seen CONMEBOL postpone the Copa America. I don't see any reason why the Tokyo Olympics should be scheduled to hold as it stands.
I understand the value concern of the Tokyo LOC. When you think about Montreal, that was held in 76, we boycotted because of issues that had to do with apartheid. And the debt incurred by that city of Montreal was finally paid back whether in year 2014 or so, since 1976. So, yes, they've committed so much.
So much, yeah.
But again, the scripture will tell you, what can a man use in exchange for his soul? No, the one single life is worth more than how
exactly.
much they've committed. And now, it's been said, it's Olumba that said, hope is not a strategy. So if they are still hoping that, okay, it will have gone, because we have like 119 or 18 days to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So except you have the vaccine, you can't just be hope that, okay, by that time,
By July 24th,
it dies down and
So
you're able to
banking on
proceed
that
with
it would have
Hope is not a strategy at all.
Has never been a strategy.
for things like this.
Okay, in line with this, let us take this tweet from Haley Wikinhesa. He is okay, but let's go back to Niger because we have a who? Jami? Tamu, how are you?
Fine. Yeah, we are talking about the cancellation of sports events.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Very correct. You are very correct.
It's a good development for the country and the rest of the world. But I want to emphasize one particular event that took place in South America. Grêmio of Brazil and one other club played under cover.
Yes.
They used masks.
And the players protested.
A competition. It's a final tournament. It's a cup competition, like our Cup of Nations, libertatorial kind of competition.
Yeah.
And it was successful, but I personally, I don't want such to take place in other parts of the country because of this pandemic. We want people to be safe for further footballing. We want people to be alive. They should also understand that God reigns supreme. You see, once you believe and once you trust God, within a short time, the pandemic will be over. If you look at scripturally, that a time will come, disease will come. But for those that know Him, nothing will happen to them. So if you have that strong belief, even in the case of Nigeria, we may not even have it much. So I believe the country has started a good foot, and they should make sure they continue, all those sports activities for now.
Thank you very much, Tyro. I think that is a very good contribution. You hope, and then like you said, for now, I think we have 27 confirmed cases in Nigeria, but most of those cases are
22 has been discharged. Sorry, 2 has been discharged. 25 still.
So I mean, but most of them are imported. I think there's about 1 or 2 or so that are,
mostly traveling.
The other ones
the
are from.
youngest been about a 6-month-old baby. Our thoughts and prayers are with that child.
I pray that because that is where the elderly and the most the young ones vulnerable. When they are vulnerable because their immune system either had worn up or it is yet to build up to withstand whatever.
Virus,
it has under the protection of the doctors. Okay, that is what the update for now. There's a new case as at 11 a.m. today, 22nd of March. That is what you have. So you have 27 cases in Nigeria, but like we said, most of those cases are imported. That's those who travel out, and came into Nigeria, coming in with it. But so it has not. We're trying to prevent it from spreading. That's why they say social distances. Stay away from your mosque. Stay away from the church as much as possible. There is don't go to church, but practice. Look at now. I have a meter from him. You understand? And we are practicing it here. No, you can put your hand. No, put your hand. You understand?
Okay, we must give credit to Lagos State government
Yeah.
for the proactive measures they've taken. The Italian that got into Nigeria, they've gone after most of the people that had contact with. And this is encouraging when you see government being proactive in what they are doing, taking this serious, because they know that if there's an outbreak of this virus in Lagos, they will have more than enough.
Probably, if it is possible, maybe we can take also the tweet from the governor of Lagos. On what he's talking about here. On the Italian who decided it's the index case, and then they tested him twice now. They said him first, when he first came in, he was positive. They now tested him after treatment, isolation, he became negative. They now tested him again to be sure, and then like what he even said, he said he agreed to donate part of his blood, which can now be used, I think, as an immunization. I think they used to immunize, probably to inject in other persons. I think that's what China was doing. That is the tweet from.
As the COVID-19 incident commander for Lagos, I'm glad to inform you that the index case, the Italian gentleman, is now negative. Through a combined efforts of Lagos, Ogun State, and federal health authorities, we're able to limit the transmission of the virus to a single contact. Kudos, governors.
And then he now said, the guy also agreed voluntarily to donate, his blood.
White blood cells.
White blood cells.
Before we got in on the show this morning, let's point out too, a staff in the office of the Vice President of the U.S. had the virus. So the Vice President was tested.
Where are we? We're going to Rivers.
Borno State. Borno State.
Okay.
Wow.
Hello, Sonny. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sunday.
Honestly, the postponement or the halting of the league it comes at a not better time than now. It's very, very important. Just like you guys have said, the health of our athletes, of our sportsmen, is far more important than just the league, the competition. So I believe it comes at a better time. All proactive measures must be taken to halt the spread of this coronavirus. As we all have seen, even in the European countries, I didn't mean they know this thing will have escalated like this. I know even before now, the league will have been
exactly, yes.
NFL have tried is the best thing for them to have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonny. Thank you, Sonny. Okay, before we move into this, we're talking about the Olympics. So probably to be fitting for us to see, because the Olympic flame left Athens. That is tradition. Yes. And then it was supposed to go through a lot of cities in there, but they flew it to Japan. Probably, if you can see the arrival of because they are, like you said, we're talking about hope that the Japanese are still hopeful. The Japanese Olympic Committee, GOC, they are still hopeful that this event will take place. So they welcome the flame from Athens. Athens is if I can use that word, the ancestral home, of the Olympics. So okay.
Postpone the Olympics.
No, okay, right. This is one of
Yamaguchi.
Olympic Committee.
Olympic Committee. Yeah, this Japanese Olympic Committee member, Kari Yamaguchi. Can you take the tweet?
Opening the Olympics at a time when athletes could not train as much as they wanted to runs counter to the motto of athletes first. The game should be postponed.
Okay, this is very controversial. It takes guts for her to say this, because she's been attacked also by members of the other members of the board. But before we do this, let us also take the other tweet
from Haley.
Coming from Haley.
She said, I've given this a lot of thought, and over the past few days, my perspective has changed. I was voted to represent and protect athletes as an IOCAC member, 6-time Olympian, and medical doctor in training on the front lines in ER up until this week. These are my thoughts on the Olympics. Postpone the Olympics.
Yeah. So these are men, and then with all this going on, the U.S. track and field, one of the most powerful federations, now came up and asked them, American Olympic and Paralympic committee, to say, look, can we do this? I mean, let us postpone. That is very, 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 very powerful, coming in from them, asking that the Olympics be postponed. So if we can see what what they are saying there, they are saying that the U.S. track and field body. He said the federation in the letter that letter we are reading to the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, Chief Sarah also asked the International Olympic Committee (IOC) to postpone the games, which are scheduled to run from July 24th to August 9th. He said we certainly understand the ramifications of this request and the realities of trying to coordinate the logistics of a postponed Olympic Games around the schedules of other athletes, sport federations, key stakeholders, etc. But the alternative of moving forward in light of the current global situation will not be in the best interest of our athletes, as difficult as this one might be. So all right, we have, where are we calling from now?
Chooks from Akwa Ibom.
Hello, Chooks. How are you?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon, Chooks.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon, Chooks.
It's quite unfortunate that this pandemic has brought sports to this state. And it's also very commendable that all sporting activities have been suspended, because just like you guys have been saying, it is people who stay alive that do sport, who do sports. So, and it's quite sad, like we've all been saying, but let me talk about the Olympics.
Okay.
Olympics, I want to believe that this pandemic will end maybe a month or 2 months before the Olympics. Let's pray it ends. And if it does, then I think the Olympics should just go ahead.
Okay.
Because athletes have been training for the past 4 years for this.
Exactly.
The fact that they have not been training now because of the fact that sporting facilities have been closed. Yeah, they can just be training in their homes, except for those who are doing 100 meters, 200, 10,000 meters and all that. But as the case may be, let's just hope that it ends a month or two. This pandemic ends a month or 2 months before the Olympics, and the Olympics should just go. Now, please, let's go to Liverpool. Whether you guys like it or not, as I keep saying, Liverpool, they have won this league. So if they like, let them postpone the league.
Mathematically, they have not won the
Liverpool
league.
have won the league.
Mathematically, they have not won the league, Chooks. The wheels could come off. The wheels could still come off.
An enemy of progress. An enemy of progress. Liverpool have won the league, whether you like it or not. I rest my case.
Okay, I think
Chooks has rested his case.
before he rests that case, maybe it's just good to share a certain experience in sport. We had a certain Newcastle managed
Yes.
by Kevin Keegan
Yes.
of their I Will Love It fame.
Yes.
And now they were leading by as much as 12 points.
Yes.
And there was reinforcement in January. He signed for Aspirida from Parma. He signed with Batty. And all of a sudden, from a 12-point gap,
Yes.
at the time they were meeting Man U, it was a 4-point lead that they cut out to 4 points. And the Man U game, they lost it because the Schmeichel was like, they really Peter the Rock, and
Yes.
it could not. So it became 1 point. At the end of the season, Man U won with 4 points. So they overcame a 12-point deficit by winning it.
That is 16 points. But
We had
this is
the
22. This is 22 points.
No,
With two matches to
Obu
go.
said mathematically.
Yes.
They have not won the league.
France, USA needed one point from 2 home matches
From Israel and
against
Bulgaria.
Yes.
All right, okay, let's go to where?
Owolafe from
Good afternoon, my brother.
Good afternoon.
Everybody, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Liverpool have never collected the league. They can't do it. What of the regulation? What of the people down? The four. Are you telling me that they should? It can't possible. What the Liverpool need is that, fine, it's their time. God said this is their time. But now, the God refused to give them. Okay, are you telling me that the people they are fighting regulation, how can you give them? What are you want to do for them? The league in the Champions Cup, league. What are you trying to do for them? Are you promoting them?
You guys.
How do you promote them?
Okay. Let's from the last discussion.
I want them to postpone the Olympic.
Okay. All right. And then
Any
they've already
question for Man U? Any question for Man U supporter there?
No questions. No questions.
No question.
No questions.
Because I believe that even Liverpool, if Liverpool, they should go and sit down. They can't give them the league like that. It's not possible.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you very much. Let me just say something here. Because I know we've been talking about this for some time. The truth is this. Liverpool will win the league because one, the UEFA and talking with all other federations. Yeah. You remember when they have the video conference and whatever it is. Their priority is to finish the league. Season. The next season is
is not under consideration yet.
In terms of priority, they are prioritizing this particular season. Yes. That whenever this pandemic or whatever finishes, they will finish this season, and if after that they can start the other season. Yeah. So whatever. With the those of us, whether you like Liverpool or not, you understand? This league, I think, when they resume, you understand? I think
it's more or less like setting a precedent. Nobody hopes for something like this to ever happen again. Yes. But in the event that they do not handle this well, moving forward, I think there will be issues.
There was a meeting of club executives in the Premier League on either Wednesday or Thursday last week.
On Thursday.
And in that meeting, they conclusively decided that this league will be finished.
The season will end,
yes. And the FIFA, I can't remember Arsene Wenger's position now. He said it will be unfair that the leagues are not finished, that the leagues, they should find a way to finish the leagues before they...
But okay, just academically, what happens if rapture takes place? And someone like...
what is rapture?
I've been watching philosophical.
What is rapture? What is rapture?
The 11 players of Liverpool are raptured.
But they will bring 11 youth players.
They will come and that lost against Aston Villa.
They will bring 11
that's
players.
What I'm saying. We can't say they won the league.
Yeah.
Nobody can say that.
They're in pole position to win the league, but
the league will be. That's what we're talking about. They will finish. They will finish. They will conclude this league and they will win this league. They've waited for 30 years.
When did you suddenly become a Liverpool and
fair is fair. It's not that money whatever it is. Well, okay, let's go on that break. When we come back, we understand whether I've been fair or not. You stay with us at home. Okay, you're welcome back. It is a Channel Sport on Sunday, and I tell you, we don't want to say it is Corona Sports, because that is what it is all about now. Corona is taking over the world, not just sports. The world actually is on a lockdown, but we know that, yes, mankind will survive this, and sport will also survive, and that is exactly where we're going. So last week we gave you some names of those persons who are tested positive to coronavirus, but one of them, I will tell you this, positively that Mikel Arteta is back and working from home now. So all things are okay, but. Late yesterday we heard about the death of Lorenzo Sanz, the former, which we don't talk about here, the former president of Real Madrid. Where told us here that he was on that signed their coach, and then
George Badano.
And then remember at a point Real Madrid were on seven Champions League the titles, and then he now won that 9 with 8 and 9, and pushed it up there. So also yesterday we have during the week from basketball, it can be bigger than this. Like Kevin Durant also was among those who have tested positive. In Italy, in fact, the last 48 hours, it has a case of Paul. Do you understand? I don't know what that has got to do with it. Because first it was Paulo Dybala that said himself and the girlfriend, Rihanna tested positive. We take that. We see that tweet that he gave there. Let's go to Joss. Okay, what's the name?
Tanze.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine.
Okay. Let's go on.
Yeah. Mine is just a pity that this pandemic is causing a lot of problems.
Exactly.
In sport. Fine. I'm doing fine.
Okay.
It's just a pity that this pandemic is causing a lot of problems in sports activities in the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just pray that this too will come to an end, so that some of us will enjoy watching games, laughing, and rejoicing with each other. And I pray that Liverpool will win this league. They are suffering enough. I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I pity them. It's a pity.
As
I go to see them through at the end. That's my candid opinion. Pray that it's well with the whole world.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Pray for Plateau United too.
And Plateau will win the league too. That is if the league continues, because they are also in the same situation, and they are doing well.
Plateau has won the league.
Okay, so in the midst of all these, you will see that our hearts of gold that will just come out and say, look, we are a bright star. This world, there is still a bonds of humanity going on there, and it started with Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich, and then they came out. Chelsea came out with this tweet, from the
chairman, Bruce
from the chairman, Bruce Borg, who said something about that Chelsea
are releasing their hotel for the use of National Health Service, that they'll cover the cost for the first 2 months, so that they'll be able to operate from the hotel.
Okay, let's just read it.
The UK government, they will cost 65,000 retailed doctors and nurses
to come back.
They need where to fix those people, so that's what they are.
But I hope those ones that are not be above the age of 65.
No, they will have tested.
They would have found.
Okay, all right. But let's read the statement for you.
Chelsea Football Club is joining the medical response to the coronavirus outbreak in London. With the news, the National Health Service has accepted the club's offer to make the Millennium Hotel at Stamford Bridge available for NHS staff. The initiative came from the club owner, Roman Abramovich, and after contact with the NHS was made by Chairman Bruce Borg, it was decided that the best way Chelsea can assist the NHS is to provide accommodation for NHS staff. Mr. Abramovich will be covering the cost of providing the accommodation.
You see, and for initial two months, that's the Millennium Hotel at Chelsea Club. For initial 2 months, we will pay for accommodation for them, all the NHS staff that will be there. Yes. And then if it extends, then there might be also a reason for him. But we hope that before then, this thing will a downward trend.
Yeah. Gary Neville also did the same with his hotel.
And that Gary Neville also did the same thing. That is Marcus Rashford. Sometimes you look at let's go back. Let's come to Lagos.
From Lagos.
Hello, Jide. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Jide.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just want to contribute my own quota of this coronavirus to sport generally. It's sad. Nobody preempted this, but it has come, and it has come. And fashioning a way out, closing the league is just not going to be fair. I wouldn't mind if we take the whole of this year to see that coronavirus is gone before they continue the league. So to be fair, no matter whatever the decision taken, some will be favored and some will not be favored.
Yes.
Look at it from all perspectives. If they close this league, it shows that Liverpool have not won. Now, let's give it a shot. Give or take. Liverpool deserve this league. They are in full position to win. Mathematically, they haven't. Anything can happen. But from what we're saying, even if it's going to be a point, Liverpool will be ahead of the second place.
Yeah.
They are going to win this league. I am a national fan, but I just have to be very objective. Now, if Liverpool, let's give it to Liverpool.
Let's give it to Liverpool.
Whether they conclude this league or they don't conclude it. But if they decide to just call it null and void, let us take Liverpool aside. There are some other teams, like West Ham, like Sheffield United, like Tottenham, like Arsenal, like Man United. All of them are vying for Champions League slot. If the remaining matches is concluded, some of them have the chance to go into that position. Now, if they call it off, the likes of Arsenal, the likes of Tottenham will not be happy. Now, forget about the fact that some will not be relegated. What happened to Leeds? What happened to West Brom United, who have been fighting so hard, spending so much money to come up to the top table? So if they call it null and void, I don't know. And if they say they want to say null and void, go back to last season, it will favor Arsenal. Because if that position of the FIFA stands on the ban on on Man City, should Arsenal get to that fifth position, they are going to Champions League. But now Arsenal is not even in that position. Tottenham is in that position. Automatically they are going to Champions League because FIFA have banned Man City not to be there. But everybody will have an argument. Should we complete this league, we have the chance to get there. Even if they are not going to win the match before the end of the season, they'll still have a reason to say they want that thing to be concluded. For me, I think they should just conclude this. They just finalize this.
It will.
Thank you, Jide.
You know, in Nigeria, we play midweek now. So, what is his name? Gary Neville has said if they have to play every day for 9 days.
Every day for 9 days,
they let it be fair to everybody.
Yes.
That
December, January period, they are playing 3 matches in 7 days.
but so you can play every other day. I mean, if you play midweek matches, it's 38 weeks.
No,
You
they
can
have
play
7 rounds of
No,
matches.
what I mean is, if you conclude this and you want to start the next one, I mean, it will,
They
you
can
know.
play midweek and
midweek and weekend.
Euro is off the radar.
So they can do that. Okay, we're talking about kindness, but we just got this news that I don't know how to say this, but let us just say it. Rangers just lost a player. Rangers International of Enugu. His name is Ifeanyi George. That he died this morning because the car he was. He was traveling. The car he was traveling on. What I was doing was when driving. We were not sure here. Ran into a stationary truck at Abudu in Benin Agbo Expressway. He lost his life along with 2 other persons who were, in the car with him. So we just talked about Chineye Martins that slumped and died, but our hopes are with Rangers International and the family of Ifeanyi George. So we just got that news. But then let's go back to what we are saying. Let's take a tweet from Marcus Rashford, because sometimes, you know, we at this part of the world don't see, we believe that it is only here. From this tweet, it shows that in the UK, that some kids go to school. Yes. That is the meal they eat when they go to school, and the only food they eat, in a day. Yeah. So that is what he's saying.
Yes, guys, across the UK, there are over 32,000 schools. Tomorrow, as then, all these will be closed, and many of these children attending these schools rely on free meals. So I spent the last few days talking to organizations to understand how this deficit is going to be filled.
So he goes on.
I wanted to understand the scale of the problem and how we can reach vulnerable children. It's not just schools, it's community centers, breakfast clubs, that provide the only meals many kids get each day. No child should have to worry about where their next meal is coming from.
So and they go on.
Fair Share UK distributes food to 11,000 different organizations across the UK, reaching almost 1 million people in need a week. Today, I'm partnering with them to rework how food is distributed during the closure with the aim that no child is missed.
So, this is what we are saying here now, that there are kids in the UK who go to school just to have that particular meal. Yeah. And he's saying the fact that they are not in school does not mean that they will worrying where the next meal is going to come from. Yes. So I mean, this is just
everything, because Rashford could have faced whatever he's doing. He's comfortable. This is an act of kindness. It shows he has the milk of human kindness.
Where Adamawa?
Obida from Adamawa.
What's the name?
Obida.
Okay. Hello.
Hello. I can hear you, sir.
All right. Go on.
I will talk about Tokyo Olympics.
Okay.
So I think for the good of everyone, I think the Olympics should be postponed maybe till next year, so that I think the athletes will get enough preparation, because now most of the facilities have been covered down, and so athletes need a lot of time to get prepared for this kind of
to give their best.
Same thing with the sport festival. I'm an athlete myself. It was devastating. We were training, and then our coach come up and said, "Guys, I think it's not going to be held." And I was like, all this effort, all this training, and so it was it, because our life matters a lot than
what event is that? What sports do you take part in?
I run for 5,000 and 10,000 meters.
Okay, you are a long distance runner. Okay.
Yes.
Stamina. Okay, and you are training in the hills of Adamawa.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't worry, you will take part in, apart from the National Sport Festival. Maybe you take Nigeria's name in the market.
And for Liverpool fans, I pray that the league will continue so that they will give them the league. But I'm a Chelsea fan, but
I like this.
But
I like
no
this.
two ways about it. They deserve to win the league. I pray that the league will resume and they will win the next 2 matches, and then will be given the lead. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And just quickly, I think one of the greatest complications of the Olympics,
Yeah.
the Games Village has been sold out. So after the Paralympics, people are expected to take possession. I know the way mortgage works in those climbs. Are you going to say they should not take over?
No, I think which state? There is a state in the
country,
US
yeah.
that
cancelled
suspended.
rent.
Even
mortgages, loans, student loans, and
they are
everything
saying
have
they are
been
pushing like
postponed,
1 point something trillion.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
take
they said
over.
for first of all, initial 3 months, there should no mortgage, no mortgage
no
payment.
They're not even working, so you can't earn. You can't earn, you can't spend.
They are supposed to take over
The
possession.
thing that what is going to affect everybody will affect everybody.
Yes.
So let them just calm down. But I know we're talking about a year because a lot of them they plans, but whatever things will turn up, and the governments are being very, very responsible. I will say this: they've been taking the brunt. They've been trying to say we can shoulder most of this responsibility. We help you to to relieve you of what of the nothing. If everything is not, if nothing is happening, if there is no production, how do you know? It's not about earning. So you're talking about where is the food going to come from? What are we going to? Are we going to eat? It's not even the money. So basically, we hope that this thing ends as fast. The sooner it ends, the better for each and every one of us. So that is that. So we've been celebrating these men and women who came in here. Manny Pacquiao himself has donated detection kits. Manny Pacquiao is that's him. He's not just a world champion. He's a senator. Right there. He's even heading one of the most important Senate committee, appropriation committee. But then he also come and make of human kindness to say we are donating these things to everybody. All right, gentlemen, we are moving home.
Yeah. Well, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and take care of yourself. Because by doing so, you're taking care of the next person as well.
Okay.
It's good to recognize Robert Lewandowski with his €1 million donation.
Exactly.
And my thought and heart are with the family of fine George of Rangers.
Okay.
The family of George of Rangers, my thoughts and prayers are with you in this difficult time. May God console you all.
May God console your family. May God console those you left behind. May God take perfect control of what is happening in the world. I tell you this for sure. We shall overcome this. I'm Ken Ochonogo. Have a blessed Sunday.